Hi everybody, I'm Mike. This is Budget Guns and Gear Reviews, and today we're going to take a look at this Xaegis Brass Catcher. Stick around. Maybe we'll learn something together. The folks at Xaegis reached out to me and asked me if I'd like to review a brass catcher, and I gotta admit, at first I was like, meh. You know, it's a brass catcher, who cares? I don't use them. Then recently I went to a range where you're required to pick up your brass, and that's when I realized that there is indeed a use for a brass catcher. So I contacted them again and said, you know what, I think I'd like to review that after all, because now I see a need for it. So they were kind enough to send it to me. This brass catcher is basically it's a wire frame with a net mesh around it, and it catches your brass. It covers your ejection port, catches your brass. It can hold up to 100 rounds of 5.56 brass, and when it's full, you unzip the bottom and the brass comes out in a nice neat little pile. I definitely could have used this at Thunder Valley when I was shooting my Mini 14, because as you can see right here, that sucker sprays brass everywhere, and something like this would have sure been helpful. It has a mount that goes to your Picatinny rail, and it clips onto the mount. You can adjust how far, how near it is, but if that's not placed properly for you, you can slide it back and forth so that if you want to put your mount in front, you can put your mount in front. You want to put your mount in back, you can put your mount in back, and then you can adjust the net to catch wherever you need to catch. Let's go ahead and see it in action. I think that if I ever do mount this on my Mini, because I would have to put new scope rings on it, because the scope rings I have don't have quite enough clearance to get this to fit under the scope. But if I did put this on my Mini, or if I were going to put it on an AK, I would have to adjust it out far enough. This wouldn't be something I would have, on a defensive gun for defensive purposes, but only at the range. Because I would have to reach down in here on a side charging, or a right hand side charging, to kind of get my finger in there and pull the charging handle. But on this X-Star EP9, the charging handle's on the other side, or if it were an AR with the charging handle at the rear, that might not be bad. But let's go ahead and put some rounds downrange with this thing, just to see it work. I'm just going to mag dump it. That was all the rounds I had in that, and you see they didn't go everywhere. They're right there in a nice neat pile. That's pretty cool. And as you can see, all that hot brass, it's not melting the mesh, so it is definitely a heat resistant mesh. And again, when it comes time to empty, done. No fuss, no muss. So, overall, in my opinion, is it worth buying? Yeah, I think so. If you reload your ammo and you want to collect your brass easily, boy, you can't beat that. If you're on a range that requires you to pick up your brass, you really can't beat it, because spending the few dollars it's going to cost for this is going to save you a ton of time looking for spent brass cleaning up the range. So I'm Mike, this is Budget Guns and Gear Reviews. That was my look at the Xaegis Brass Catcher. If you like what you saw, please like, share, subscribe. Consider becoming a patron on my Patreon account. Every little bit helps me bring content like this right to you. And as always, come on back. Maybe we'll learn something together.